Howdy! I'm Luke, and welcome to the first episode of the Legend of Troop 31 series. Here I'm going to be talking about my first summer. Well, you read the title. Let's just start. So every summer camp, we first meet at the church we meet at for meetings. Then we load up the trailer. For this one, we drove 9 hours. My God! But we drove 9 hours all the way to Colorado. This was a week-long camp out. It's something called a Scout Summer Camp. Now that's important because there's two of them my troop does. Scout Summer Camp, where you sign up for a bunch of merit badges and do them there, and High Adventure, where the troop chooses one big merit badge and you just do that one for a week. So this one was a summer camp. I'll be honest, this summer camp was 5 years ago, so I don't remember much. But I'll tell you guys the merit badges I took and some small funny stories I remember. Let's see, I remember I took basketry. I think there was swimming too. And others. Okay, so I don't remember all the merit badge classes I took, but what I do remember is basketry was fun. But I somehow didn't get the badge. I think there was something that they didn't teach us for some reason. Or I didn't do good enough. Probably the second option. And swimming, I sucked at. But this was 5 years ago, when I was a little weak boy. Now I'm a big, tough man! One thing I do remember, though, was that it rained basically 24/7. Almost all day, every day, for the entire week. I remember waiting in line for lunch, and since there was stairs outside you walk up to go to the second floor, where there's a roof, and where the food was. There was a long line, and I was waiting out there on the exposed, soaking, rain-wet stairs. I was drenched in rainwater. Luckily, though, I made it under the roof and was about to get my food when one of the people from my troop came out from inside the building and took me inside. I think my entire troop was wondering where I was. Now that I look back at the situation, why was I on my own in the first place? Why wasn't I sticking with my troop, or at least with another scout from my troop? I guess we'll never know. But good news and bad news. The good news is that they took me inside, I got dry and warmed up. The bad news is that I never got lunch. Another story I remember from this summer camp is that there was a whitewater rafting place nearby. And if you don't know what whitewater rafting is, then Google it. I'm not your teacher, I'm not going to tell you what it is. I just make stupid cartoons on the internet, okay? But anyways, we had half of the troop on two different rafts, and the one I was on, we hit a big rock sticking out of the water, and it was a very tight turn, so we crashed and almost flipped the entire raft. Good times, good times. Oh, and when we got back from whitewater rafting, we were met with, I think, cop cars and ambulances outside of the camp, and we had to wait there for like 20 minutes until a couple of ambulances came out of camp. Then we could go back in. So it turns out what happened was the camp had like this competition thing where you had to like look for something. Probably had something to do with orienteering. So while they were doing that, we were whitewater rafting, and during this orienteering thing, some kid like didn't drink water and got really dehydrated, and that's why there were ambulances. Hope that kid's doing alright. Also, one more thing I'd like to mention before I wrap this up is at the end of every summer camp, I come home and something happens to me. For example, when I came home from this one, I was taller than my mom. So that's what I mean by something happened to me. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this episode. Sorry if it was shorter than you were hoping. It's probably because I don't remember anything that happened. I mean, it was 5 years ago, so what do you want from me? But see you guys later when I talk about my hiking high adventure.